This is what Barack Obama is doing tonight. He is laughing at Donald Trump. He's laughing at the Tea Party participants. He's laughing at the Freedom Caucus. He's laughing at all those right-wing conservatives. And he's laughing at the white supremacists, the racists, and all other folk of that ilk. Why is he laughing his ass off? Because that is one black man who did something that not 219 people, majority of them being white, could undo. In case you hadn't heard, and you probably have, Donald Trump could not even get a vote on his and Paul Ryan's legislation to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act. He couldn't even get a vote. I would be laughing like crazy if I were him right now. Now, of course, there were all kinds of people to throw under the bus, but I gotta give him credit. He didn't throw Paul Ryan under the bus. He didn't cast disparaging remarks about the Freedom Caucus. He blamed it all on the Democrats and said that he couldn't get it passed because he couldn't get even one Democratic vote. Well, newsflash. You have been campaigning for a year, and you have been telling us how easy it would be to repeal and replace Obamacare. You even went so far as to say that you might be able to get it done the very first day that you walked into office. But irregardless of that, it was going to be so easy to do. Well, I guess it wasn't as easy as you thought. Now, I'm not leaving out the Republicans. They have, at least in the House of Representatives, been practicing to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act. In the House, they have passed bills to repeal the Affordable Care Act over 50 times. 50 times they passed it in the House. Now, up until approximately 2 years ago, they didn't have the votes in the Senate in order to get it all the way through. But when the Senate took over in, 3 years ago, 2015, and they had control of both the House and the Senate, that's when both bodies started practicing. They passed legislation, they passed legislation, they passed legislation. But they knew full well that the president was going to veto that legislation. So they have been selling wolf tickets for the past 8 years. Because you would have thought if by some miracle they could have passed the legislation and someone had injected the president with a mind-altering substance and he signed off on the repeal, what were they going to do at that point? They believed full well that Donald Trump was not going to be elected president. You cannot convince me otherwise. Because if they believed that he was going to get elected and that they were going to be able to maintain control of the House and the Senate, some rocket scientist like Tom Price would have had at least months, if not a year, to do a decent job on preparing the legislation, rules and requirements to take care of all this. But for some reason, nobody did it. So then when Mr. Trump got elected and they saw that they had control of the House and the Senate, I guess it was at that point that they started scrambling, realizing that they had a real shot at getting rid of the Affordable Care Act. Funny thing though, nobody was actually working on it per se, and nobody was working on getting the coalition together in order to be able to pass it. So now, fast forward to 30 days in the past, after Mr. Trump comes in and starts sprouting his bullshit, now they're scrambling to come up with a plan because they didn't have one and neither did he, even though he told us he had a plan to take care of it. And 30 days later, the plan that they come up with pisses off the Republicans on the far right and pisses off the Republicans that are moderates. Translation, they couldn't get to 215 Republican votes in the House. Now, of course, that can't be the Republicans' fault, according to Mr. Trump. So all he could say was that he couldn't get one single Democratic vote to support him. Well, newsflash, they told you all along that you were not going to get any support from them. But if we go back 8 years ago, when President Obama passed the Affordable Care Act, he didn't get a single vote either. But being the good president and strategist that he is, he got together with his leadership and told the Democrats that they were going to all have to stick together to get this thing passed, and they followed him, unlike the Republicans in the House that refused to follow Mr. Trump. So again, Barack Obama is definitely laughing his ass off tonight regarding Donald Trump's failure. The master negotiator couldn't negotiate a deal amongst his own party. Paul Ryan, now you get a taste of what John Boehner was going through dealing with the Freedom Caucus. Good luck going forward, because all that's going to happen now is they're going to feel further emboldened because you couldn't get 218 votes to get this thing through, and they were the principal body stopping you. Well, folks, next stop is quote unquote supposedly tax reform. Let's see how successful Mr. Trump is with that. But Barack Obama is going to sleep good tonight. Not only did Mr. Trump get slapped down regarding that quote-unquote phony wiretapping crap that he threw out there, but he got slapped down on his very first attempt at legislation. And with all the bodies that he's got around him, including Mr. Mike Pence, who served in Congress and knew where all the bodies were buried, Mr. Bannon, El Super White Supremacist, and Kellyanne, I can lie with the best of them Conway, trying to twist arms and threaten people, it appears that the Freedom Caucus doesn't feel as threatened as he would like them to be. Stay tuned for further reports.